Yes, I believe it's systemic discrimination because it's embedded in practices and systems and organizations. Example, the outdated ageist questions that I just shared with you. Mandatory retirement policies in some organizations. I've actually seen them in job postings recently, excluding older workers from training opportunities.
Welcome back to the Aging Vibrantly podcast. I'm Marianne Rideout, the host of the show, where we amplify the voices of seniors and leaders in the field of aging, who impart their expertise and wisdom to enhance our understanding of aging issues and ways of living a safe and fulfilling life with respect and dignity. In this episode, we're going to talk to Carolynne Mahood, founder of On Your Own Time, about why age diversity and inclusion in the workplace matters. Across Canada, many older adults who want or need to keep working are being overlooked, not just because they lack ability, but because of ageism. Ageism is more than just a mindset. It's a form of discrimination that impacts how older adults are treated in healthcare, within families, policy, media, and even the workplace. By 2036, nearly half of Canadians will be 55 and older. Yet, many workplaces are unprepared to support or retain this growing talent pool. There's thousands of older workers, skilled and experienced, that are being quietly pushed aside. While elder abuse is often discussed in the context of home and healthcare settings, workplaces play a vital role in shaping attitudes towards aging. When older adults are excluded from meaningful work, it not only impacts their income and independence, it also reinforces ageist stereotypes that contribute to the social isolation, which is a risk factor for abuse. By addressing ageism, especially in workplaces, we can help prevent these harms and ensure that older adults remain respected, engaged, and valued. This growing demographic shift is a call to action, urging us to reimagine how we value, engage, protect older adults in every sphere of society, including the workplace. In fact, there's data that has a compelling case for age diversity in the workforce. Did you know workers aged 65 and older stay 7 times longer than those aged 20 to 24, or that organizations that are DEI strong are 8.4 times more likely to earn recognition from key audiences, and that they are 2.6 times more likely to retain their staff? One approach to building age-inclusive, future-ready workplaces is to provide employers with tailored and exclusive hiring tools that make it easier to create environments where experience is valued as an asset, not a liability. Who better to highlight an innovative approach than our guest, Carolynne, who is the founder of W.I.S.E, Wisdom, Inclusivity, Synergy, and Equity, a national certification program that combats ageism in the workplace and recognizes workplaces that actively support and retain experienced workers through inclusive, flexible, and age-positive practices. We learn about the experiences older workers are having when trying to find work, why age inclusion and diversity in the workplace is beneficial, and how employers can be champions of age inclusion by becoming W.I.S.E certified. To further bring awareness to ageism, this episode is being launched on October 9th, Ageism Awareness Day in Canada. Led by the Canadian Coalition Against Ageism, this campaign amplifies efforts to raise awareness about ageism in all its forms and sectors, including workplaces. Our interview aligns with this year's theme, Ageist Strength, Building Belonging, and Challenging Ageism. So let me begin by introducing our guest, Carolynne Mahood. After stepping away from her full-time role as a seasoned human resource leader with decades of experience, she wasn't ready to stop contributing. She saw the need for connecting flexible employers with retired professionals and providing age-friendly workplace training. So she founded On Your Own Time, an organization that envisions a world that sets no barriers for the sharing of experience and wisdom. She is a fully accredited and trained human resource professional with more than 45 years of experience gained in private and public sectors, large corporations, and small privately owned businesses. She worked as a human resources leader, consultant, providing customized HR solutions, led innovations in recruitment, policy development, performance management, and workplace investigations. She also has a significant community involvement, served as a board member, leader, and advisor for nonprofit organizations, leveraging her HR and adult education expertise to strengthen governance, workplace practices, and provide leadership coaching and training. Carolynne is also the founder of W.I.S.E, the program we're speaking about today, that delivers age-friendly workplace training, helping businesses create inclusive practices and attract experienced talent. Carolynne has also partnered with LGBT Prevention Ontario to host a webinar to further highlight the W.I.S.E program in recognition of Ageism Awareness Day. Thank you, Carolynne, for joining us today. I also want to introduce my co-host, April Struthers, who is a member of our Aging Vibrantly podcast Senior Advisory Committee. Given our vision to ensure all people age vibrantly and safely, we're looking forward to our conversation on empowering older adults and all individuals really about the importance of recognizing ageism in the workplace and encouraging employers to become age diverse in their hiring practices. So, Carolynne, maybe you can talk to us. Statistics show us that by 2036, nearly half of Canadians will be 55 and older, and many people retire early. We're hearing that in the news, and some by forced retirement because of downsizing and changes in organizational policies and procedures. But there's also seniors who want to continue to work or perhaps never want to retire, and those who want to re-engage in the workforce. But they do encounter many challenges when they want to go back to work, just because of their age. Based on your experience as an HR, consultant and in the work that you've done, and in creating your own time, the service that helps older adults engage back into the workforce, can you tell us about what you've heard from older workers about their experiences in the workplace and in their hiring practices?
Definitely, Rayanne. I've talked to many older workers, some who are looking for work, some who are currently employed. Those who are looking for jobs tell me about the endless resumes they've sent in to different organizations, the hours they've sat in interviews, only to be told, if they are told, that they weren't the successful candidate, even though they had all of the qualifications that were posted in the job. The older workers who are currently working tell me different stories. They feel invisible in their workplace. They might make a recommendation or a suggestion using their experience, and it's completely ignored, not even acknowledged. Mm-hmm. Some tell me they're often asked by their managers, "When are you retiring?" Others tell me that they weren't included in training opportunities, and when they ask why, they're giving answers by their managers such as, "We're only including those employees with career potential," or "the budget only allows a certain number of employees." I heard a story last week that I couldn't believe took place in the 21st century. A man told me that he had been in an interview within the last 2 weeks, and during the interview, the recruiter asked him how old he was. And when he told her his age, she said, "Well, you're too old for the job." And the sad thing was, he didn't realize that the question she asked was against the law and that he didn't have to answer it.
Wow, that's it. It's startling what people think that they can ask, and why even discriminate against someone just because of their age. And based on what I know and the work that you've been doing, that age is a benefit. For the workforce, and we'll get into that in a minute. But is this considered systemic ageism in the workplace? We talk about
Yes.
Lots of isms, and we don't focus a lot around ageism in the workforce. So maybe you could just speak to that a bit.
Unfortunately, it's very common, and it's hardly spoken about because it's very subtle. I've heard older workers say, "I don't really know if it was because of my age." They have no tangible proof to support a complaint to their organization. So employers continue to get away with practicing ageist behavior. Yes, I believe it's systemic discrimination because it's embedded in practices and systems and organizations. Example, the outdated ageist questions that I just shared with you. Mandatory retirement policies in some organizations. I've actually seen them in job postings recently. excluding older workers from training opportunities. All of those work against older workers and cause them to feel invisible, not feel welcome, maybe even leave their employment, even if they need to continue working.
That brings up all sorts of questions about isms. And it's from what you've just said, it sounds like the kind of things that people notice and feel and maybe can't put a finger on are just about the same sort of things that happen with all the other isms in the workplace, whether it's racism or sexism or whatever. So there's a common dynamic there. And it always amazes me that there's more of that and there's not the recognition that age and diversity of all kinds and inclusion in the workplace is quite a powerful force and can be a force for good. And so we know, and there's lots of research that shows that creating a culture in an organization that is diverse and inclusive can make a significant difference in recruitment and retention and in better decision-making overall. So, Carolynne, can we just talk a bit about what is meant by diversity and inclusion as it relates to older adults? And then I've got a second part of the question after that.
Okay. I once heard that diversity means being invited to the party. Inclusivity means being invited to dance. So, in my opinion, diversity means appreciating and acknowledging the different skills, knowledge, and experience that older workers bring to the organization. Inclusivity means encouraging them to use those skills, knowledge, and experience so they're doing their best work, making a contribution to the team, and helping the organization succeed. But organizations also need to walk the talk. They can say they're diverse and inclusive, but they need to have policies and practices that demonstrate respect for and value of older workers, all workers.
Yeah. So can you tell us again what the benefits are then of having both age diversity and inclusion? What do organizations get out of it?
There are many, and April, you touched on one. When you bring all of those skills and knowledge and qualities together, you're going to get enhanced innovation and creativity. Different people have different perspectives and different ways of looking at situations. So there's going to be stronger solutions to problems, stronger decision-making, better ideas for product development. And because there's a lot of skills in the workplace, there's more opportunity for all employees to improve their current skills and learn new ones from others. Older workers tend to be generous. They like to pass on their knowledge and skills, so they will naturally help younger workers develop. The organization will definitely improve its reputation, both internally and externally. Current employees will be proud to work for an organization that truly is diverse and inclusive. Customers are attracted to businesses that reflect their values. Job applicants will be inspired to apply to an organization that tells them that they're going to be included and respected.
Yeah.
The economy benefits. When more people are working and earning money and spending money, the economy is good.
Yeah, it's so true. And, there's so many people that want to work and, employers are looking for people. And then you often hear people saying, well, people retire, they shouldn't go back to the workforce. They should leave room for the younger generation to take those jobs. But maybe they don't have the skill set that an older worker would have to fill that job, or maybe an interest or, in even taking that job, whatever that role might be. So, that whole systemic ageism, we really got to do a lot more work to address and educate people around. And was that maybe the reason why you started your certification program to address this issue?
Yes. I started On Your Own Time in 2023, and I was very naive. I didn't know a lot about ageism then. Fast forward, I'm amazed at what I've learned through my own experience, through talking to others on social media and other forms of media. And the same message is clear. Older workers, older adults have a lot to offer, but we're undervalued because of outdated assumptions. So I decided to introduce a way of employers determining how age-friendly their workplace is in a simple and free manner, and change that so that they can attract older workers to fill these many skills gaps that we continually hear about.
I know, and there's a lot of programs that have, like senior organizations that will hire retired people who have expertise in maintenance and home repairs, or contractors who don't want to work full time, maybe want to do like the odd job kind of, employment. So your service is, very helpful, I think, for those people, matching their skills to maybe a job and being flexible. I think that's the biggest issue, is being able to work around the older adult schedule and then the employer schedule. Maybe they only need someone, periodically, or maybe they do need someone full time. Can you explain a little bit more about the program that you developed, the National Certification Program, W.I.S.E? Explain maybe that, W.I.S.E stands for Wisdom, Inclusivity, Synergy, and Equity. And it's a new program, I think, that is just starting to get launched, and which is great for this podcast to try to inform people about this and how they can get involved and to address this issue of ageism. But maybe you can explain, we hear W.I.S.E, but maybe you go into depth about what that is and what the purpose of the program is.
Okay. Well, it is a tool, as I said, that helps employers measure the level of age friendliness in the workplace, with the ultimate goal of attracting older workers who can bring skills to fill skills gaps. So it's a program that offers 3 levels of certification: bronze, silver, or gold. It's a 3-tiered process. It starts with employers letting us know on your own time that they're interested in assessing their workplace. We send them a link, which leads to a series of questions that cover 4 areas. Sorry, I have to refer to those. Culture, learning journey, talent culture, and benefits and accommodation. Each pillar or area has a list of questions that have numerical values. When the employer has completed the total assessment, they are provided with the total value for their organization, and that relates to either a bronze, silver, or gold level of certification. The employer may be satisfied with that level and choose to stop the process there. Others might think, no, I can do better than that. I want to advance to silver or gold. And if so, on your own time works with them by providing other resources such as training, policy development, workplace assessment, for a cost. When the organization is certified, which means when they have determined that they're satisfied with their level of either bronze, silver, or gold, we ask them to give some light documentation just to prove that what they say is actually taking place in their organization. Then we give them the W.I.S.E seal, which is a real live seal that they can use in job postings, on their website, in marketing material, to let the world know that they're age friendly and attract older workers who know that they're going to be welcome in that organization. It's a very simple, quick online process. It doesn't take a lot of time to complete the assessment and get to the certification stage.
That's great. It's a great program. And I think I love that visibility, that people can see it, and whether they put that on their door or, like you say, they're hiring materials or social media, it really opens the door for people to say, yeah, here's a place that I actually can apply, and I'm not going to be asked how old I am when I'm in the interview.
So I'm an organizational consultant, amongst other things, and I have my head is buzzing with all the clients that I'm going to be introducing the concepts to in the W.I.S.E program too. I think just about everyone I work with can benefit from at least the assessment. And again, that brings up the visibility that Rayanne talks about. And since we're often battling an invisible hidden force, anything that amplifies what the realities are and how things work in organizations around aging is really a valuable tool. Now, I'm also wondering, and often this is what I need to know so I can have conversations with employers about taking on another certification process. What is the employer's experience of that certification and the process? What do you hear back from employers about putting this into operation?
To be honest, we haven't heard back from a lot of employers yet. We're still promoting the tool. We did have a pilot organization who went through the full process, and they were very, well, first of all, they had one or two older workers. It was a small organization. They didn't have a lot of policies and practices in place, but they were actually motivated by the end of the process to develop their policies. I see on their website now that they have their seal attached saying that we are an age-friendly workplace. So they have proved that the process works, and they're currently doing a recruitment for technicians, and they are seriously considering an older person who has lots of experience. Wow.
So changes in attitudes, changes in their operations, and putting the badge into effect in terms of saying, here's what we stand for. I suppose that's really really good work. So long term, what do you think will happen for organizations once they have the certification, once they put into operations their policies and try out stuff for a while? What's your predictions about what will happen longer term?
Well, I believe it was you, April, who said that by 2036, more than half of the Canadians are going to be over 55. I envision that more employers who use the tool, raise their level of age friendliness, are going to be attracting those older workers who are going to continue working either by choice or necessity. And there's going to be more acceptance and more realization of the value those older workers bring.
When you're doing your program for the training, just building on what April was speaking about, who's actually trained in the organization? Is it just the management, or is it all staff, or who undertakes the training, or is it different levels?
Depends on the organization. In our pilot organization, it was the office manager who has some HR education, but is sort of a Jill of all persons. Anyone can be trained to facilitate. It's not a complicated process. I would expect in larger organizations, someone in human resources will fill that role.
Okay. And do they have to do a recertification at any time?
Every 2 years, just to ensure that their level of certification hasn't dropped, or to see if it's actually increased. But during that 2 years, we don't ignore them. We're available to answer questions. We check in with them, make recommendations, work with them to help them maintain the level that they attained.
That's great. I think that makes most sense, right? And then hopefully other employees, word of mouth goes from one organization to the next organization. And like we were just talking about, that visibility, and people can understand the benefits of that. And it's like a ripple effect as people hear about it. And, hopefully this will get some momentum going in the workplace. I think April's already got some people in mind in terms of the working that she's been doing. And there's so many, as April said, and as you said, Carolynne, the long-term impacts from that. You mentioned earlier, Carolynne, about policies and practices. How do those still exist? I think you were mentioning that people saying at a certain age you have to retire within the organization, or we've heard of policies that once you retire, you can't be rehired back onto that organization. Do you think we'll see a shift in the mindset and policymakers and sort of that bureaucratic, management level of changing that that is ageism.
It is, definitely. We're starting to see a shift. There are some larger organizations that are encouraging older workers to continue working in roles that satisfy their lifestyles. I believe, April, you were talking earlier about older workers filling contract positions or specific roles on a part-time or casual basis. We're starting to see more of that. If I'm allowed to name organizations, BC Hydro has a pioneer club, I believe it's called. They encourage their retirees to join this group that volunteers in the community, uses their experience and knowledge to help others. They can come back to BC Hydro again and do work that, again, is important or attractive to them. So it's slowly starting. And I can see it's going to be on the increase because, as you were saying earlier, Rayanne, it's a ripple effect. I know from my human resource experience that it just takes one person, one leader, one organization to start something. And when others start to see the benefits, they say, I want that as well. And suddenly everyone's gravitating towards that activity or benefit or tool.
I think it's even just giving voice to the issue itself. This podcast is being launched on Ageism Awareness Day, where we're trying to highlight awareness about different, isms of the ageism. Workplace is one of those areas that we wanted to bring some highlight. There'll be other activities and issues that will be addressed around ageism, but this is an important topic that we thought we would highlight on this day that the podcast is being launched. So hopefully maybe we'll get some more uptake for people to look at that. Do you have any suggestions for older adults when they do go into interviews and sort of preparing themselves for those job searches, or what people might encounter? That's when someone says, how old you are. Like, how do we educate people to say what their rights are when they go into these workplaces?
Okay. I have a list of recommendations for older people in the job search. The first one I think is really important. Don't apologize for or undersell yourself because of your age. Don't agree with the recruiter when they might make an ageist comment. Instead, highlight your skills and experience and how those can impact the organization. And I always tell them to do it in a non-aggressive way. Another recommendation I have is to prepare for the ageist questions, because often they're asked and we're caught off guard and we don't know how to answer them or what to say. And this is where I recommend using artificial intelligence, uploading their resume and the job posting into a form of artificial intelligence and saying, list all the possible ageist questions I might be asked with some suggested answers. Update their resumes to highlight their skills and outcomes, because nowadays employers want to know how you're going to add value to my organization. How are you going to help me make money? They don't care that in 1995, the applicant had a list of 20 activities they did in their job. Know what, where, and how you want to work. I've heard from many employment agency people that they have older workers come in, but they don't know if they want full-time, part-time. They're not sure. They don't know if they want hybrid. They don't know if they want to commute to work. They don't know how many hours. They just want to work. And I think they have to have a stronger plan, because they won't find what they're looking for unless they know what that is. Join job search groups such as meetup groups, groups on Facebook. Even local libraries have groups and information about job search. Look for organizations that are age-friendly. Some employers will put in their postings that they offer remote and hybrid opportunities, flexible roles and hours. Some are actually starting to say, we welcome applicants of all ages. I'm starting to see that more and more. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. It's very easy to get disillusioned when you've been turned down for a job that you truly believe that you were qualified for. Take a breath and go back to it.
And remember, it's the system, it's not you.
Yes. Don't take it personally. Although after a few rejections, it's hard not to.
It's so true. I think that's all of those are such great advice. I think it's, people just make the assumption, even themselves. We talk about internalized ageism as well. And I think sometimes people will say, well, no one's going to hire me anyway because I'm already, I look a certain way, right? I have gray hair or I have, so we have to get over that ism as well before we, taking your advice that you've just provided as well. So that's really good information, I think, for people to take forward. Do you have anything else to add, April?
I guess, how do people get in touch with you to learn more about W.I.S.E? And then I have a final significant question, I think.
Okay. Well, my website is onyourown.time.ca. My Gmail is onyourown2023@gmail.com. My telephone number is 604-727-2726. I am open to all of those forms of communication.
Great. And we'll put those in the show notes for everybody as well, so they know how to contact you, as well as your link to your website and any social media that you have as well.
Thank you.
What a great resource this is, Carolynne. I'm really excited to hear about it. And you'll be hearing from folks who'll be hearing from me.
I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you for that. Can I add one last recommendation?
Absolutely.
To the comment that you made, April? When people start saying, I'm too old, or they're afraid that their gray hair is giving them away. It's an activity that I introduced earlier for people who tend to say, I'm too old to, and that's an example of internal ageism. I suggest that they choose a time frame. It can be the past 10 years, the past 50 years, it's up to them. And start listing every accomplishment they made from the beginning of that time frame. And they're going to be amazed at all of the accomplishments, because we just go through life doing things without realizing the impact they're having on us, how they're helping us to develop and grow and make contributions. And my recommendation is leave that list out, because every time you start to say or think, I'm too old, you're going to look at it and say, wow, look what I accomplished. And then they're going to continue adding to it because they have a new found way of looking at themselves. They're not too old. They're just beginning.
Yeah, that's so true. And I guess, as you were speaking about that and the list of accomplishments, I keep thinking of sharing that list also with, grandchildren or neighbors that are younger, to inspire them to keep going and understanding the impact that they've had in the workforce and that they continue to have contributing to society, and breaking down some of those, barriers as well around intergenerational connections. And it also, plays that role as well. So,
and changing the attitude towards older workers and differences.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
The last question that we ask everybody in these podcasts is, what advice would you give to empower someone, an older adult, to age vibrantly?
First and foremost, I think it's important that they keep connected, because connection prevents isolation, loneliness, and other mental health issues. If they had connections at work, either friends or colleagues, keep in touch. Make a genuine effort to find new connections. And that's often hard. When you give up a job, you're giving up a lot more than the job. You're giving up your friends, your activities. So look for ways to stay connected. Join clubs. Go to dog parks where there's lots of people who are friendly and like to talk about their dogs. Go to the regular coffee place where other people hang out. Walk in the same direction, and after a while you might start seeing the same people and nodding to them and talking to them. Keep active. Keep a regular routine so that you're eating and sleeping regularly, but don't overdo it. Be spontaneous. Take up new hobbies. Try different things that might inspire you, but don't take on anything that you don't like just for the sake of taking it on, because you're only going to give it up. The same with exercise. Try different forms of exercise and find one that is comfortable for you. Volunteer. There are many, many nonprofit organizations desperate for people, and older workers have so much to offer those organizations. As I said earlier, go to a dog park or get a dog. The dogs force you to have a purpose. Get outside, get exercise, keep your mind active, read, listen to podcasts, attend webinars, join book clubs, anything to keep the mind active, because when we leave work, we don't have as much opportunity to make decisions, problem solve, analyze, critically think. And it's so important that we do keep our minds as active as possible. That's basically my list of recommendations.
That's awesome. We've heard many people in our past episodes speak to the need for a connection and the networking to decrease that isolation and keep the friendships and keep your mind and physically active as well. So thank you so much for sharing those words of wisdom with us, and for coming today to share your program. And hopefully other people will have a look at the program and maybe call you and get an audit and start that process as well. And April, I don't know if you have any other comments just before we wrap up.
No, just to say that this is a really important intervention. You've brought together many of the elements of anti-ageist work. So kudos for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just add one piece of information about W.I.S.E? It's free. Correct. There's no
Very
charge to
important.
the employer. Yeah.
That's so important, especially nowadays, and for people to get something that's has great benefits and doesn't have any cost except one's investment in time, which has long-term positive impacts for not only the employer but the employees. So whether you're ready to take the next step in figuring out who your next employee is, or if you're a retiree looking to find what your next gig might be, maybe look out to see what W.I.S.E has to offer you. So thank you so much, Carolynne. Thank you, April, for joining us in our podcast today.
Thank you for having me. It was fun, and I really hope that I've provided your listeners with something valuable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolynne, for raising our awareness of ageism in the workplace and the W.I.S.E certification program for employers. To learn more about W.I.S.E and programs mentioned in today's episode, please check the links in our show notes. Also, check out Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario's website at eapon.ca, where you'll find fact sheets, brochures, and other materials on ageism, abuse prevention, and more. So whether you're an employer, a policymaker, experienced worker, your role matters. By championing age inclusion, we are not only filling a critical gap in the labor market, we're building workplaces that are wiser, stronger, and more resilient for the future. Because when every generation has a seat at the table, everyone benefits. So let's rewrite the narrative around ageism. Join us to challenge ageism and celebrate strength at every stage of life. Ending ageism is essential to building more equitable, inclusive, and a just society for all generations. Lastly, join the Canadian Coalition Against Ageism conversation and campaign to raise awareness about ageism in all its forms and sectors, including workplaces. Aging Vibrantly, Conversations to Empower Seniors is hosted by Rand Rideout, was produced by Lisa Whitfield, and edited by Todd Miller of the Podcast Experts. The original music is created by Red Path Audio. We want to thank Help Age Canada for their financial support to produce this season's podcast. Please rate and review the podcast by completing our listener feedback survey, and subscribe to the Aging Vibrantly wherever you get your podcast. If you prefer to watch the full episodes, They are available on Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario's YouTube channel. Be sure to check us out. Until the next time, stay vibrant.